Hi,
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I am well. I appreciate you talking to me about this. It's been fun to talk to you over these movies, as I would imagine it's been for you to play them as an actor.
Yeah, people just keep coming back, and every year it's great.
Yeah, it's quite rare to get to continue a film series like this that's just about a couple and their relationship when it doesn't involve them saving the world or fighting vampires or surviving the apocalypse.
Mm.
You just get to explore normal human problems. What have you most enjoyed about the opportunity to do these films, to play this character, and to watch how they've grown?
Oh, I think you've said it perfect to explore normal human problems, and to do something like this, a drama and a romance where you're just playing characters, and it is melodramatic in that these crazy situations happen that you wouldn't expect to happen in day to day life, but that's what's so nice about it. Um, yeah, just playing real people with problems.
Has anything most surprised you from an acting standpoint that you didn't realize might happen because you hadn't done, four movies telling the same story before?
Well, I'd done barely any movies before this. This was the first time I was the lead in a movie. And I remember in the first, it was never like the first film, I was in every scene of the movie and I think every shot except one. And it was, and the second and the third and the fourth, it wasn't like that because we had more scenes where it was other characters and it wasn't just from like Tessa's point of view. But I remember having that as my kind of introduction to this in the industry. I was like, whoa, it's a lot. And yeah, I think I've learned so much about not just the hours involved, but and how difficult it is to make a film and how difficult it is to make a good film, and just the amount of effort that goes into it and all the different departments and everything. Yeah, I've just learnt lots of little things that I don't think I ever would have been aware of if not through experience.
What was it like to finish the last scene on the last day, knowing that that would be it for these characters? Have you officially said goodbye to this character yet, or does it not feel like you're there yet since the fourth film still won't be coming out for a bit?
It kind of doesn't feel like it's over, and I think that's probably, you're right, it's because the fourth film hasn't come out. I think once it does, I'll feel more done. Like we haven't even done ADR for the fourth film, so it's not finished yet. But I do feel like their journey is done, at least as far as I'm aware.
How did your first day on the first film compare to your last day on the last film? Do you feel very different personally now?
I feel very similar in a lot of ways. Uh, I think the differences are probably just, well, I'm older. I'm not living in the same place. I know things that I didn't know 2 years ago. Uh, but I, I really don't feel that different. I don't know if there's something wrong with me, but
I think you're okay. It's wild that you shot this in Bulgaria during a pandemic. What was it like to be in a very foreign country, have this experience, shoot with all these safety protocols? Did it ever feel just very alien?
um, it feels alien, I think, when you get the first call that says you're shooting in this country and it's somewhere you've never been. But after you get there, it's people are just people. It doesn't matter what language they speak. And like it it really does, you kind of fall back into it. I mean, there's little things that you notice, like, oh, like this food is different, or this, or I don't understand this reference. But I think you kind of, human behavior is pretty much the same wherever you go. And I think that luckily we had a lot of the same people with us. And so when we were on set and we were doing it, it felt very comfortable and very normal very quickly.
I would imagine too, it would have been, a lot harder if you hadn't been able to already establish this relationship before you then having to do all these new safety protocols.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and it's weird not getting to. it is weird that working for people for 3 months and not getting to see their faces until the very last day, or sometimes even then not getting to see their faces. But I think there's a silver lining in that, because we were quarantined, we got to really get close as a cast and spend a lot of time together and bond, and that was nice.
You've got different directors for each of the first three films. What has that been like to have different visions and perspectives on these characters while you guys are sort of the constant throughout them?
Well, I'd say it's very normal. TV shows usually have a different director for each episode, and films in a franchise, I mean, it's very rare that you actually have, I'm not sure if there is like a single franchise that has one director for all 3, 4, 5 movies. But yeah, every director brings their own style and their own thoughts and visions to it. So it's interesting. It's really fascinating as the actor to get to see how that changes each film and how the sets run.
What do you think makes Tessa different in this film, both individually and in her relationship with Hardin? Were there things that you specifically enjoyed exploring about with her at this point in her life?
I like that she's older in these movies because she's a slightly different character. You're not playing a girl who's going into high school, not high school, sorry, who's coming out of high school and who's going straight into college. You get to play someone a little bit older, and that's nice because there's just, I don't know, it's more similar, I guess, to where you're at in life. And sorry, what was this with the relationship?
Well, just, what you enjoyed about exploring with her at this point, because this is a quite a different stage in her life for her.
Yeah, I think the other thing I enjoyed is that in we got to have more fights, me and Hero. We got to get into more like specific fights with an extended scenes and like conflicts and like this is the problem, because they're already in the relationship, and that's really nice. And like having these moments where you see them brushing their teeth together or lying in bed talking together, it's really nice to get to show like a relationship between two adults and all the little intimate moments that happen in a relationship.
Was it important to you to have her be at a point in her life where she doesn't want to give up herself and her dreams just because she loves him?
I would say it's somewhat out of my control, because I would say that's kind of the story. And if the story wasn't that would be, well, I wouldn't want to change it if there was a reason for it being that. But I think that's, yeah, the credit goes to the story. That is what it's about. She's balancing, she has to ask herself this really hard question of what do I want to value, or what do I value more, and can I make these two things work, a relationship and love, or a career? And I think that she is the one who chooses career, or to at least try to make it work.
Do you feel like you and Hero have been on the same page when it comes to your characters and their relationship, and when their feelings and reactions are justified and when they're not? Do you ever disagree about the reasons behind their behavior?
Well, we don't talk about that because I guess our jobs it's my job to understand why Tessa is doing something she's doing and why it's completely justified. And it's his job to understand why Hardin's doing something he's doing and why it's completely justified. So there is no objective answer. And if we were to talk about it and try to like objectively discuss, well, who's right in this argument, it would make it harder for us to do this. We have to each believe that we're coming from the correct place. And I think when you do that, that's how you are able to do scenes like that.
One of the things that struck me watching the scene that you guys have together that involves the ice cube, how long do you have to do something like that? Is it a real ice cube? Like, what are the challenges of having to deal with something like that in a scene?
Everyone has been asking about this ice cube, and I think Hero picked it when we were doing the scene. He was like, hold on, how are we going to do this? Because the ice cube's going to melt in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And we did one take, one close-up, I think, of it on skin, or maybe 2, and then that's it. The ice cube was not there for the rest of the scene. there was nothing in his hand. If there was, it was probably glass or plastic. I think it's just movie magic.
I think for me, I've had my skin burned with an ice cube, so it's like, how do you get through that? Yeah, so it's good to hear.
I'm not gonna lie, it won't. When we did this one take, and she's meant to look like she's enjoying it, and it's freezing.
Yeah,
I did struggle not to scream.
Which I can completely understand. I actually really love the friendship that's developed between Tessa and Kimberly. What have you enjoyed about exploring that when it seems like really the most genuine friendship she has is somebody who doesn't really want or expect anything from her?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a really wonderful friendship that Tessa has with Kimberly, but she's obviously older. She's an older, and I love that sometimes that can happen in life. And like I have a lot of older female friends. And as opposed to people, I think, around my age. And I think it's nice because she's a friend, but she's also older. So she has this mature perspective, which I think is really helpful for Tessa in her life, and especially with the stuff she's dealing with Harden. But it's not just one way. It's not like a mother-daughter relationship, because Tessa then helps her when she's having to deal with stuff with fans. It's a mutual relationship. And Ariel's so great, and it was just wonderful getting to do scenes with her.
Yeah, it's been so interesting to watch because it's such a beautiful bond that forms between them. Mm-hmm. And obviously it's not like the main relationship of the story, but it's nice to see this relationship that just kind of naturally forms.
Yeah.
Obviously, this film is left on a cliffhanger. There's a shocking moment at the end of it, and we know that we're getting a fourth film. So is there anything you would tease fans for the fourth film? Any kind of hope you would give them for fans that will be watching this and screaming that it ends where it does?
Honestly, I have a feeling that fans of these movies have read the books, and if they haven't, they will go straight home and read the books. I remember when I was watching Harry Potter or The Hunger Games or something, I hadn't read Harry Potter. I went home and I read the final book, because I just had to know what happened after I saw like the sixth movie. And so the good news is they can find out the answer, but they also don't have to, because the movie will be out very soon, I think next year.
Is it fun to get to have those kind of cliffhangers? Because movies like this don't usually have big cliffhanger moments like that, because they don't know if they'll get to come back and finish telling the story. Usually you don't want to leave people in a place like that. So is it fun to get to play with the audience in that way?
Oh, we just we're very sadistic. We love torturing them, apparently. Yeah, it's a lot of fun getting to kind of just always leave them on a cliffhanger, and they're never going to know, and they just have to wait another year. But I do feel bad. I do feel bad for these fans, because I know what it's like when you're watching something and it ends at that moment right when you want to know what happens next.
What's been the most surprising thing about this fan base that has developed, that you have, I'm sure, heard from a lot with these movies? What has that been like to experience?
The most surprising thing is probably the positivity, the love. Like, I'm constantly in awe, and I'm waiting for the day where it's like, where it's just like recast Josephine. But and they're just so supportive, and it doesn't like, and I think that's what I like about fandom, and that's what I think is great about being a fan of something and being passionate. It's like just the positivity and the support, and I think it's been so overwhelmingly wonderful.
Well, I appreciate you talking to me about the film and about the character. Like I said, it's been fun to sort of go on this journey and watch you guys through it. So I appreciate you talking to me about it.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll talk to you next year.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks.